Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly editor-in-chief today, because today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Pinnacle Entertainment's outstanding Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, using their stellar Superpowers Companion, published last year, I believe. And with me today are the stars of our ongoing campaign, The Guard, featuring Canada's premier superheroes. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today. First up, we've got Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert, and I'm playing Bouclier. He's a relatively small guy who gets bigger and bigger and bigger when you hit him.
Nice. Next up is Will.
Hi, I'm Will. I'm playing Cygnus, the Dark Star of the North.
Excellent. And last, but certainly not least, is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm back. And I'm playing Mind Warp. He is a scientist, mathematician who is a speedster.
Nice. So the last time we played, for those listening at home, the last time we played was a little more than a month ago, and the last time we played before that was at least a month before that. So we are going to be a little rusty on our Savage Worlds rules, and by we I mean I will be. And we haven't seen Mind Warp in a little while. So before we talk about what happened last time, I think we're going to jump right in with following up on where Mind Warp was. So Mind Warp, last we saw you had left a message for your fellows and you sort of disappeared.
Yeah.
And we have yet to learn what that message is. So let me fill in a little bit of what you've been doing, and then we're going to role play a little bit here. So, what you found, Mind Warp. I guess one of the things. Why don't you tell us one of the not obsessions, but one of the things that Mind Warp has been focused on as of late, outside of his superheroing.
Well, so basically, he has found all these discrepancies from his memory of what the world should be and history of the world, and he, at first he thought, I must have just misremembered that, and then it just started piling up more and more, and some of them he's so certain of that he felt like it was a strange conspiracy, and he sort of, or something truly strange had happened to him, and so he started investigating it all and sort of went down this huge rabbit hole of, plotting all the differences, and it all, in a strange way came back to him, and he feels like he's the one who's out of place in the universe, so to speak.
So then why don't you tell us how Mind Warp would have reacted when he found a website called Strangers in a Strange Land that claimed that it was a community of people on the wrong Earth.
Oh. I think Strangers on a Strange Land?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to write that down.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he would have immediately wanted to meet with these people. So he's probably gone to, meetings or meetups, or, his super speed would allow him to travel around the country a little bit, probably, finding some of these people and having a conversation with them. So he probably would have.
Sure. So why don't we do this? Why don't you give us we take advantage of the networking rules in
because he wouldn't trust the internet to just, who knows who he's just speaking to on text over the internet. So he would want to speak face to face with people.
Yeah.
He's a little old school that way.
Okay. Here we are. So you can use the nice way using persuasion with networking, or the not so nice way using intimidation.
I definitely see him more as using nice guy
Okay. So go ahead and
tactics.
give us a persuasion roll, and you can get. Remember, don't put the plus sign in, but take a +1 bonus just because you're a superhero. Relatively well-known one as well.
Oh, put a +1 in the miscellaneous?
To the miscellaneous modifier, yeah. Just don't put the plus sign in.
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
Oh, you have fatigue right now, though. Just take your fatigue off. Yeah, you shouldn't be fatigued.
Oh yeah, 1 of 2.
Yeah, so that would have been a success. Not a raise, but a success.
Yeah.
So we can picture that in this montage of you going around North America, meeting with these folks. We're seeing you in a cafe in San Diego, and then we're seeing you in a park in Chicago, and then we're seeing you, on a train in Toronto. There's just, you're finding there are a lot of folks, and what they say is, several of them have been diagnosed with different kind of dissociative disorders, or have otherwise been forced to hide what they believe because of a if you start telling your friends and family that you're from a different earth, they generally react poorly to that stuff. But there is one commonality that's coming up, and it seems to be the person who is organizing this. It's a person named Douglas Fulch. And he is he seems to be sort of the administrator who's brought the kind of community together. And what they tell you is that Fulch believes that there is some kind of conspiracy behind all of them coming here. None of them know one another well enough. Like, there's not like, oh, I know you from our world and we recognize the same world. Like, it seems as if people are being pulled from all sorts of different places. It's all, as in your case, just subtle differences.
Right.
And well, actually, that's not true. There probably is a couple of them. The total community number is around 300 who have managed to find one another. They're confident that there are more out there who are just not talking about this or whatever. But because of your successful networking, if you wish, Fulch will meet with you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That makes sense that I'm going to meet with him.
Okay.
So yeah, I would, if he would agree, I would set up a meeting.
Okay. Do you have any preference for where you would meet him, or do you leave it to him to decide?
I mean, I don't have any specific preference. No, I don't think that I can think of.
Okay.
So probably, I mean, because I can get to him probably easier than he can get to me, so to speak. So
yeah, and I think what he insists is that to avoid tracking, that you make, wear civilian clothes. You're going to collect a burner phone that he's going to leave at one location, and then that will track you. It seems as if he is like, there's an element of not a cult, but I mean, like, there is definitely an organization to the folks behind the Strangers on a Strange Land.
Okay. Yeah.
Group. So we would see you kind of, zipping around, and the final destination where you meet up with him is in a it's in a ghost town in Northern California. And we kind of see you arrive in your civilian getup, and I think we have, let me just make sure here. I'm pretty certain, I don't have the handout for it. If I've loaded it as the proper name here. Let's see. I did not. Unless... No, I do not have it. All right. So I don't have your civilian identity picture easy at hand. I mean, it's got to be in here somewhere, but I don't know what I've named it. So you arrive, red hair, you're thin kid, and why don't you give us a perception check or a notice check, not perception.
Right. Notice.
So you're looking around, and there is, you can see a man who is trying to do a bit, he's trying to remain hidden. This place is a, gold rush era boomtown, ghost town. So there is a bunch of, there's the abandoned school in here. There's a mine up on the hill. There's several buildings that are sitting around all, weathered and brown and discolored. At the time of day is such that there are no tourists that are here. It's either very early or, just pre-dusk. And you can see from where you are trying to kind of remain hidden in the eaves of one of the alleyways. There is a not middle-aged, but I mean like late 30s maybe, or early 30s, white guy, beard, short cropped hair, wearing kind of that kind of get-up that could be, running around weekends doing, errands, or could be, out for a hike kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And he seems to be trying to remain unobserved from where you are.
Okay. I'll try to be stealthy. It's not really one of my things, but
Sure.
I'll do my best.
If you choose to sort of approach from a different direction, because remember you can move so fucking quick, I'll give you a +2 to the, I think it's stealth in this game.
Yeah, I think so. I do have stealth, so I'm actually not terrible. Oh yeah.
Okay. So you approach up from behind, and you can see he is there gripping a kind of a phone in a white-knuckled grip, and he realizes you're suddenly not there anymore. And he's looking around. Unless you wish to be seen, you are not seen.
Yeah, well, I'll sort of move around to interact with him now, basically, like, come around to talk to him, but...
Okay, what do you say?
I'll just, Douglas?
And he turns around. You came. And he looks over to where you were and to where you're back. So it's true. Your mind warp.
It is true.
I hear that you've been speaking to other members of our little group.
I have been.
I also hear that you know that you're not from this world.
I'm fairly certain of it.
He kind of steps forward, and there's a bit of a wild look in his eyes, and he doesn't touch you, but he's got his hands kind of up as if like, he doesn't want to startle you or have you run off. He says, you don't need to be worried. I'm not, you're not crazy. You hold on to that. Because there's something there's someone who's behind all of this.
You know that?
You've sensed it, haven't you? Felt it?
That something is strange, yes, but
the guiding hand. Oh, you must be too close. Too close.
I haven't felt the guiding hand, no?
you are a member of the Guard now, right?
Yes, I am a member of the Guard.
And were you part of the Guard on your world?
I don't remember. Was I?
You were.
No, I don't think I... Oh, I was? Okay, yeah. I was, yes.
But different members, right?
It was a little different, yes.
It's because he's keeping his enemies close. He steps forward, and he's holding up his hand, too, and he's got a fairly big screen on his... what do you call it? His phone.
Cell phone?
Yeah.
And he says, do you recognize this face? And he hits something, and there's a like pencil and paper. There's a photo of it, pencil and paper sketch of it, and this expression is different, and the likeness is a little. I mean, it could just be the artist's imperfection in it. But what you see is a illustration of Dr. Leonard Cooper. Cygnus. Different hair, different facial hair, but it is definitely him. And Will, why don't you remind us, what does Dr. Cooper look like?
Let's see. I got to remember if I've got his picture in here.
I think you
but
did.
Yeah, he's. Go ahead, Ken.
Well, I think you did provide one. I don't think I've loaded it yet.
Okay, that's fine. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. But yeah, he's kind of redheaded, young. Let's see here if I've got it. See if I can describe it. There it is. This way I can describe it from what the actual picture is.
Here, let me do this. I'm going to give you a handout.
Okay.
And you can just add a thing in there. Let me just give control over it. Dr. Cooper. And everyone's journal. Yeah, Will, go ahead.
And then just click edit.
Yeah, just click edit, and you should be able to load an image in there.
Choose a file. Yep. Awesome. There he is.
Do you have that illustration for Dr. Mansfield too, Jeff? Now that I think of it.
I
know you switched computers.
No, I don't on this one.
Okay.
Okay, so it
That's
should be
okay.
there.
I can find that again, Jeff. I've got it in here somewhere. I just haven't loaded it. All right.
So yeah, so he's kind of redheaded, got a beard.
So the version that you see, Mind Warp, much shorter hair and a more severely cut beard. But it's definitely him.
What? Why would it? What? He's just confused.
He's the one. He's behind it all. And it's at that point that you kind of hear a message coming through, or you can feel it on your phone.
Okay, yeah, I'll answer.
It is from Dr. Cooper. And it's just a simple text message. What it says is, meeting with Foreign Fader. Meet us in St. John's.
This is the guy, yeah, this is like the main guy that I did want to talk to as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I'll keep an eye on him, I guess.
He says, you have to do more. We need to know. We need to know what he is up to.
Oh, okay.
He reaches in his pocket or his cargo pants and pulls out it's like a thumb drive, but much smaller than what you would expect. He says, this. place this in his computer. We can tell. We can bring all of us home. We just need to know.
Okay, I'll take the thumb drive.
Okay. He seems very grateful.
Yeah. I mean, after this sort of confusion, I'll definitely sort of try to play it up that I'm like, believe him and like, yeah, we got to get to the bottom of this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And he steps forward and he finally actually takes your arm. You're one of us. You're not alone. You're not home, but you're not alone. That's a phrase you've seen quite a few times on the website, and it's almost like a way that the members of this group part from one another.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty wild look in his eye when he's making eye contact with you, too.
Yeah. It's weird because, you know, after he leaves, he's thinking it's like he wanted to believe that there were others, but now he's not sure that they're not crazy, you know, which makes him question his own sanity more than, you know, is he really in the wrong world or what's going on, right?
Yeah. So, where are you intending on going?
Would you say Halifax?
St. John's.
Or St. John's, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you could contact Dr. Caliburn, and Dr. Caliburn could create a portal to get you there immediately, but you're trying to remember how fast you move over land. Just stay on your character sheet here. Let's see here.
Speed 11. It doesn't say what that equates to.
Let's see here. Oh, that's your boost speed thing. Hold on. 240 miles an hour. So it might be faster to... I mean, you could spend a hero point to boost that.
Yeah, because that's only like bending. 4 times. That's about, what, 4 times a normal car drive.
Yeah, so you might want to...
like a 10-hour drive is still 2.5 hours, yeah.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Yeah, it's still a long way. So, yeah, I would probably contact Dr. Caliburn.
Yeah. Well, you could bump it up to supersonic speed, but even then, at 2,400 miles an hour, that's still from, Northern California back to the opposite side of the other coast in Canada. Yeah. It's going to take you a while.
It's a long way. So I will, yeah.
All right. So you, the portal opens up and you sort of zoom into the foyer of Ravenscraig and then out and into the office, the sort of reception area for Foreign Fader Industries. And kind of startle the young woman working reception there. Now let me bring you over to, where are we here? Downtown. Where is that? I really feel like I should start labeling some of these.
No.
That's crazy talk, Madison.
That's insane.
Let's see here. What is this? Is this it? Nope, that's Vancouver. It's Manitoba. Oh, here it is. It's the one that I did label it. What a dummy. Jeez Louise. Okay, here we go. So then, with Mind Warp joining your allies, let's talk about what's happened in the last couple of sessions, just to bring everyone up to speed and tell Jeff what happened in Mind Warp's absence. So, what's happened over the last couple of sessions, guys?
Let's see.
Let me see. The last thing that you guys would all probably remember was the ending. There was that fight with Alchemist and Electron when they were stealing something from Foreign Fader Industries in Vancouver. That fight spilled out over a couple sessions, and then we had a bunch of delays, and then we had one follow-up session from that, and then delays, and then another session, and then delays. So we're really capturing the feel of like comic books from the early 90s. This is an Image Comics publishing schedule of like, we'll publish one, and then about 18 months from now, issue 2 will come out.
Yeah.
So what do you guys recall, Bouclier and Cygnus, from those?
All I
Well, I
remember
know
is
we
that
had the fight, and we, excuse me, we didn't, I don't think we captured either of them. I think they both got away.
Your dice were well and truly on the side of the villains that day.
Yeah. But
and it was
we did start doing some research to figure out what they stole and why. So we started doing that. And seems like it ended up being some sort of like polymer for bonding or something. It's some sort of fixative or mending type chemical. I think it was a chemical or a process.
Yeah.
And so we discovered that, and then I'm trying to remember what we did next. I know we ended up doing some
there was
additional research on.
There was an extra bit of info from that. The polymer itself, it seemed as if there was no one outside of Foreign Fader who knew that they were working on that.
Right.
So it's unusual that they would suddenly and it had only been at that facility for a couple of days, so it seemed like a very Foreign Fader seemed pretty suspicious that they had just started working on it. They're still well before any kind of public knowledge of this stuff, and somehow they knew it was there and it was robbed.
Yeah, and one of the I think we call it one of the minions, and they were talking about how quickly they had all kind of got together. It was kind of like a rush job for them to go, for lack of a better word, knock this place over.
Exactly. Yeah. And then what else happened?
Oh, I remember that, but that was. I remember the part where Cygnus had a close encounter of the third kind. But I can't remember if something happened in between there. But Cygnus was in his bedroom, and his singularity in his suit activated, basically. And it opened up this portal to somewhere time else. And I'm trying to remember who we saw, because I remember Bouclier came in, and whoever it was recognized Bouclier.
Yep. And seemed to think I was a villain.
Yeah, that's right.
And we thought possibly was actually tracking me.
Yeah, it was a black armored figure with similar, effectively, if you could think of a gothic steampunk version of Cygnus's armor.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It appeared in Cygnus's room, and then when Bouclier appeared, cried out a name, Monsieur Mountain.
Mountain.
And blasted him. And then when Cygnus, I think Cygnus either blasted him back or... And then there was... the singularity seemed to collapse in on itself, and he vanished.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that opened up a whole other can of worms. So I know we started talking to Dr. Caliburn about it.
Yeah.
And trying to maybe figure out how that happened. And that's when, excuse me, that's when Cygnus finally decided to take occult as a skill. with his advance. He's like, aha. Yep. But let's see, what else am I missing, Robert?
From that, I don't think a whole lot.
And then the next step was getting the meeting set up with Form Fader, correct?
Yeah, that was right. Yep.
Yep. And so that was finally we got what's the word I'm looking for? An introduction. Yeah, that's the better way to say
Yes.
it. We got an introduction to Form Fader. And
Bouclier just wanted to punch him, but turns out he ended up talking to him, which,
how'd that go?
it actually went a lot better than I expected. As a player.
Yep.
Apparently, Bouclier being relatively straightforward was a good thing with Form Fader.
Yeah. And I don't know if we really learned a terrible amount.
He went on a monologue about how being immortal was a really bad thing, and very, very draining and tiring, and he has the weight of the world on his shoulders. But he did my notes are coming back to bite me in the ass. I'm like, okay, three or four lines or 3 or 4 words supposed to jog my memory.
So let me see
terrible.
if I can assess with. Do you recall what he talked about? You had asked about the compass, the D compass.
Yeah. So he said that. Okay. So first thing is he gained the Curse of Immortality by Odin. He sailed on the Great Bay with Leif Erikson on the Nonsuch, which is apparently where he used
That's conflating a couple hundred years worth of information.
Okay.
Leif Erikson is the Viking who discovered North America.
Okay.
So he had sailed with him, but that's in like the 10th century.
Okay.
He returned. There were settlements set up by Vikings there. Form Fader apparently had some kind of connection to it, and then he sailed back.
Okay.
With his with the Nonsuch in the 16th century.
Okay.
And returned to where his settlement had been, because he thought that the way he described it. Do you remember he described it like how belief can be kind of like a scent that lingers, and that when a stronger scent comes in, it just overpowers whatever is there. He needed to find a place where the belief and worship of the Norse gods was pure. So he was returning to the settlement he had left behind when he returned.
And he used that, and I can't recall if that's where he was using the compass to.
He used the compass there because it was able to tap into the latent belief that was there, and he traveled to Bifrost. But do you remember what he found?
Yep. He found empty halls and no Odin.
Yeah. Interesting.
And beyond that, my next notes were. So I probably skipped a lot in between here, but the next notes were the lady and the other beasts he thought might be sired by the gods. So either half human half god, half human, or half other thing.
Yeah.
So the creatures that we've been going up against.
What he said is that after having used the compass to travel to broken Asgard and then spending decades getting back to Earth, he found purpose again in his life, and then it's led him to where he is now as the head of this, tech industry or tech company. And he had not thought about what the consequence of using that thing again, because the gods, he knows, at least the Norse gods, they're not there anymore. He doesn't know where they've gone, but the gods were not in Asgard. It was broken and empty. What he also posited was that the demigods, if they are the children of gods, I don't think he discussed this with you guys, but what he would likely have to say about that is that, imagine trying to find your parents but finding that they've just left home without telling you where they're going.
Right.
That would be effectively where they are. But if they're taking the compass and they're all from these northern climes, there's probably other places where the belief is still strong enough for you to travel.
Okay.
But if there were Norse among their numbers, like the White Witch herself, then it's likely Bifrost is the route they are likely to take. Where in the Nine Worlds their destination might be is an open question. But from what Forn Fader has seen, the gods will not be there waiting to meet their children.
Okay. Yep, trying to find their parents and kill them. That way.
Abandoned children without the benefit of the support of their parents tend to be kind of resentful of said parents.
I can't remember. Did we ask him about? Did we talk to him about the alchemist and?
You didn't yet. You were talking about the why he, where I guess you were asking. I think I'm trying. I just watched it last night before bed, and I can't remember what the specific phrasing. But you're asking, effectively, where where he used the thing, and it was a community in Manitoba that he had vainly called because he thought it was a funny joke, Bifrost.
Yep. And then you told us, Kev, that there actually is a real Bifrost.
Yeah, there's a place called Bifrost. And when I think that's probably where we had ended the last session, and maybe that's where you can hear kind of the sound outside, and Forn Fader looks to the door and says, "I believe your companion has arrived."
And
Mind Warp, you're able to walk in. Have you put your super suit on now?
Yeah, I would definitely show up dressed for
the occasion.
Yeah.
Okay. So you show up, and everyone gets a Benny as well. So you show up, and he looks at you, walks over. He's a tall guy, and he's got that kind of insufferable, super fit dude with a perfect fitting suit kind of persona. So he comes and shakes your hand. Dr. Mansfield, correct?
That's correct.
A pleasure. I'm aware of your work in... I'm trying to think how he would phrase it. Transdimensional velocity?
That's a fair way to put it.
It's interesting work. If you... And he looks over at you, Cygnus, and says, all of your work, quite interesting. I have little memory of it, but I think that if you had asked the wisest in my village what it is that the two of you study, they would say that you are learning of the Bifrost. Coffee, Dr. Mansfield? Tea?
Please.
Juice? Please. And he gestures to the thing on the side. Help yourself. So, Mr... Is it, out of character, Robert, is it, Brooks is your last name, right?
Brooks.
Okay. So I can't read my handwriting.
Grab my coffee, sorry.
Okay.
Hey, he offered us stronger drinks. Apparently, he doesn't want Jeff.
Yeah, when you see the illustration, you'll understand. He looks like he's 19.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Also, he doesn't really need to go any faster if he gets the jitters. So.
Doogie Howser, PhD.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
So he turns. He says, "Then, Mr. Brooks and Dr. Cooper, what do you think these wayward children wish to do with my compass next?" And Mind Warp, would you give us a stealth roll, and Cygnus, give us a notice roll, please?
Okay.
Close my character sheet. Why would I do that?
Wow.
Nice.
Sorry. Somehow close my character sheet.
Whoa. So there's a bit of, for a moment, you think like, he's got his full mask. Well, I guess he's going to have to bring his mask back if he's going to have a drink. But for a moment, there's just a split second like this. You think like, what's going on with Mind Warp? Because he kind of holds a look with you, but then immediately afterwards he flashes a smile and comes to sit down, and you'll think nothing of it. He's not acting strange towards you at all.
Not at all.
Not that you can notice, at least. So, you all sit down. Thorn Fader sits on the other side. You have the panoramic view of the harbor behind him. What do you think they want with my compass? And what do you intend to do? If they were simply to go, even in its ruined state, there are treasures to be found on Asgard that likely would be... I would not want to see them possessed by those who freely cause such chaos in our world.
But does it only lead to Asgard?
Not with a different gate. I knew who I needed to speak to for my own purposes. But Dee's genius, it certainly could be used to traverse any such passage. In which case, and as a reminder, your colleague Warlock, he's not here, but remember one of the things he told you about that got you guys involved in the first place? He thwarted a robbery by a pair of trolls of some mynheers, some standing stones.
Sorry.
I mean, that's... well, I don't know what their ulterior motive is. And I think that's what we're trying to do at this point. Is figure out what their goals are, what their plan is.
Mm.
But it's not good. What else? And whatever it is they're planning has to do with connecting dimensions. That I'm sure of. And bringing things from one place or time to another.
Like the Norse gods.
I think it's even bigger than that.
And Brooks breaks in. He's like, he looks at Thorn Fader. He said, so each... He hasn't heard yet what happened with Jeff and the other thing, but he says some of us have viewed alternate versions of ourselves. Is there any possibility there are alternate versions of the gods?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And his eyebrow arcs and he leans in. What do you mean you've seen alternate versions? This is news to you too, Mind Warp.
Yeah.
Because right now, Mind Warp doesn't know that Cygnus has seen an alternate version of himself. So this might be feeling really timely in your mind.
Yeah. And then Bouclier looks over at Cygnus as in like, kind of, should I have said that? Should I continue?
You done opened your mouth now.
Yep. And he says, well, you had mentioned alternate realities, so
Yeah, well,
he kind of just jumped in on that. But so he says that we saw. All he says is an alternate version of Cygnus came and appeared to be looking for an alternate version of me, who was a villain. And he's just putting random stuff together and as I said, like he usually does, is like, would these demi-humans possibly be looking, if your gods have disappeared, would they possibly be able to find an alternate version of them using your compass?
That is, these are certainly areas that are beyond my personal expertise. I know of many and have traveled through many worlds, but not a different existence. If there are parallel existences, then conceivably there could be, but I have no weight to put behind that opinion. I think such things might have been well beyond even John Dee's wildest imaginations. I could not think that such... The compass itself is contingent on certain ambient magical conditions, and as such would be limited to traveling, I would think, to things within this world, this existence, breaching a gap between, if such a thing was possible, with the occult lore of D or even your Caliburn. I cannot fathom of the power and the if it is indeed their intention to demand audience with their parents, though, if you were in a false existence in another world, would you not think of everything as a poor facsimile of what your true existence would be? I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
The short answer, I do not think that the compass could be used for such a thing. Traverse to the realms of other gods, potentially. But to other existences, that is certainly beyond my expertise or ability to give any useful insight. Mm-hmm. Dr. Dr. Cooper, your work has been on singularities, which I understand relates to, in a way, to multiverse theory, does it not?
Definitely the many worlds theory, the connections between time and space. We think of them in our day-to-day existence separately, but fundamentally the two are linked, along with gravity. I'm beginning to suspect that not only do other realms, in the mystical sense as you describe, exist, but I'm also beginning to think there are other times and spaces that intersect here, and that somehow the forces that normally keep them separate are weakening. That's just a theory.
I could tell you in my long life, I've seen in many things. I've never seen anything as you are describing. That tells me that if it is something you may, and something that you are routinely encountering, the gestures sort of at the direction of your chest. You might look closer to home for a cause for that, Doctor. But it's not just these wayward children that I called you here for. I have thanks to offer to you as well. That was not a ruse. I still don't know how the two learned of our project, though in retrospect it is obviously something that would be of interest to forgive me, I don't remember alchemists. He's got a public identity, so Foucault. I thought, I had it up there. Damn it! I was like, nah, it can't be Foucault. That's just like grabbing the, it's like naming someone De Gaulle. No, Foucault. Yeah, I could see why, in retrospect, it would be of interest to Foucault. But how he learned of it so quickly. They must have... well, our security is looking into it, but it seems that someone may have been eager to distribute that information. What we found thus far in our security, in our search, we cannot identify how they were informed of this. There was no word that came from any staff member who was aware of this. No correspondence, and we have completed a comprehensive investigation. I am confident in saying they did not learn of this from us, but we were the only ones who knew. So how does that happen?
Well, there's a lot of options. The first thing I think of is just traditional corporate espionage, fundamentally.
Again, I am confident that did not happen.
Never underestimate the depths of the human heart. But...
Dr. Cooper, you keep searching for things that don't exist. When I tell you that it did not happen, it didn't happen. I am looking for alternative explanations, not second guessing of my own work.
Alternative explanations. Mind reading. And it could have actually have been corporate espionage, but not in the way you're thinking.
Sir,
someone could have...
You have not. I keep telling you that we are confident this has not been the case. And you keep offering me the same explanation. This meeting will be very short if you keep telling me something I already know not to be true. One of the things you can think of, Cygnus, is that, remember, this guy is a centuries-old Viking with lots of mystic experience as well, too. And then if you consider it for a moment, you'll realize, like, he's talking about his investigations. He's likely talking about more than just conducting, checking emails or interrogating things. He probably has supernatural means of checking up on this stuff, right?
Right.
You may be immortal, but you're not infallible. Ooh. Somebody could have very easily, through any number of scientific or magical means, gained the intelligence that it existed, that it was there.
He places his hands on the table and stands up and says, "This is the trouble with academics. They don't wish to answer questions with answers. Simply pose more questions. I appreciate you spending the time, gentlemen, and I do thank you for your efforts to try and thwart the robbery. But if there's not anything else, I do have a company to run. And a personal object to recover." Now, he's not like calling security or anything like that, so if there is anything else you guys wish, you certainly can.
I mean, we're working on that too.
What had you hoped to get from this meeting?
I hoped to learn the impossible explanation for something I know could not have happened. I know that they were informed by some unknown party of this. I know that they went into action quickly and with only semi-adequate preparations. I don't know who told them. I don't know why they didn't pay for that information. This was not a tip that was sold to them. It was simply information given to them without seemingly to facilitate the robbery, and that is all. I don't know who provided that information, and we have conducted extensive investigations such that I am confident it did not come from my organization. And I don't know why such valuable information would be simply gifted to one such as Foucault. He is not some master criminal who you could rely upon afterwards to then support whatever endeavor that you wish. And from what I gather, there was hard negotiations between the tech mercenaries and Foucault and his colleague. Foucault had to finance his minions himself. Why would someone simply tell him that there was something worth stealing in my home? It is a mystery. But if someone knows this much about my private dealings, that, along with the theft of the compass, gentlemen, to be frank, before you came, I had my suspicions of your involvement. You would not be the first to masquerade as heroes to try and gain vulnerable access.
To whom are you referring? Not being the first. Who?
Not among me. He refers just in general to the...
Okay. That's just what I wanted. I want to hone in on that just to make sure.
It is what you'd call the Thunderbolt's ploy. For those unfamiliar, the comic from the 90s, the Thunderbolts, featured a new team of superheroes who arose during the disappearance of the Avengers and the X-Men and whatever else. And not the X-Men didn't disappear. The Avengers and Iron Man and whatnot. And then at the end of the first issue, you find that it's actually the Masters of Evil who are disguising themselves as superheroes in order to gain access to the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and whatnot, all that information. That is what he's referring to. It's just that you wouldn't be... Okay. There have been people who have learned, like, oh, I'll act like a superhero. I'll get in good with the cops and whatever else, and then I just can steal the shit out of things. Right. Do you think it a coincidence that you came first into contact with my compass and then on an unrelated note came to the rescue of my company?
We were keeping an eye out for robberies. I mean, it's what we do. We didn't know, I guess. I can't remember if we were told. Sorry, I'm thinking a little bit out of character here. I'm trying to think if we knew that it was the robbery was Foreign Fader's company before we went.
I don't know if you did. I think you knew that because I think it was on the news. You guys were talking about trying to figure out what to do and whatever, and you saw on the news that this was going on. Yeah. And Caliburn was the one who transported you over there, and you guys tried to take care of them.
Yeah, so he basically says, if it was, I mean, we didn't know it was your company when we came. We knew that there was a robbery. And now, one quick question. Does he know, Caliburn said that he set up the meeting, right? So...
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, he has no... Calvin doesn't have any reason not to say his name. He says, our patron who set up the meeting with you, Dr. Caliburn, suggested that we go take care of it, but I think we were already thinking that. But at the time, we didn't know that it was your company. So I don't see how it could be anything other than coincidence.
Robert, would you mind moving your mic just slightly away? So I'm getting some popping from it. That's okay.
Sorry. Yep, there you go.
Then, Mr. Brooks, it may be that we are both being herded together. But for what purpose?
He breaks in here because he has a feeling somebody might say something to end the meeting accidentally. He says, and I'm sorry, my thoughts are a little bit scattered, but the person who attempted to take this substance, or the what was it called? It was called an enzyme, or an
adhesive.
An adhesive.
It was an enzyme-driven adhesive, but yeah.
Yeah. So it was the alchemist, who I'm sure you know of. But was there any reason you can think of why that substance and the compass would have any connection?
I cannot see any. While I understand Foucault to dabble in the occult as well, this was a product of science. This was not something that, as I'm sure you've come to learn with Caliburn as a colleague, magic is highly unreliable and often tolls a heavy cost. Science, I find, is a more dependable partner. As for why, I can understand why Foucault would. His hopes, adhesive trope or penchant for using such things, I can understand why it would appeal to him. I have not heard anything yet to change my belief that this was simply, on Foucault's part and his partner, a crime of opportunity. Something he clearly wishes. It's the intent of the person who told him of it. That is... That is what vexes me. But he looks at you, Dr. Cooper, once again. I am grateful that there is one less question I have. I truly believe that you three knew nothing of this robbery.
No, we're here to try and stop, try and solve, try and correct. But we're definitely not here to perpetrate anything.
Then if you cannot answer for me how this impossible task came to be, perhaps you can get my compass back.
Well, we're working on that. That's the next step.
And he's still standing, but he kind of brings a chair in front of him and steeples his fingers, leaning on the back of the chair. How do you intend to do that?
Well, you gave us a lead that going to Bifrost might be useful, and he did give us a way into, if they got the compass, presumably to go to the same place, we might be able to find them there. So that would be my suggestion as where to go next. And he kind of looks at Cygnus and Mind Warp to see if they agree. We may not find them, but we might at least we might discover something that would lead us to them. You said something about sense. Would there be any way to track your compass? I know that you weren't talking specifically about that. You were talking about places and people, but like if we had come somewhere where the compass had been.
I, in my time, have learned some simple charms and such, but as I found magic to be unreliable. Caliburn was, in his day, a mystic of some power, though I hear he has stumbled in recent years. If he cannot help you, perhaps some other that he knows might be able to assist in such things. I know magicians can do such things, but there are so often so many restrictions and caveats and such to... I truly should have just put a GPS tracker on it. When it returns, I will ensure to do so. But no, what I can tell you, Thor Seekson, Bifrost is not a thriving community, nor is it really of any significant importance to the company, but it has some sentimental value to me and to the people that still live there. So, while you may think me careless with my property, as far as the compass is concerned, the things I value, I do try to protect. Thor is my head of security in Bifrost.
What was the last name?
Sigson.
Sigson?
Thor Sigson.
Okay. And you will let him know in advance that we are coming?
I will. Are you planning on traveling there directly?
Should we confer with Caliburn first?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we're going to travel there like right now after we leave here, but the next 24 hours, barring something else happening, yes.
Well, once, once you complete your divinations and fortune telling and oracular explorations, I have a much simpler way for you to contact Thor.
You got his number?
Science.
Great.
A much more reliable. And he says, in fact, and he snaps his fingers, the door opens up, and you can see that you're not sure if it's the sim assistant from before, but some assistant comes in with like a serving tray, and there are 3 boxes on it, black. And she walks over and places the boxes in front of you. And he says, it is customary for those who visit for the first time to leave with gifts. And if you open them up, it's the latest model of the Phone Fader phone.
Oh.
The Phone Fader, if you will. He says, Thor's number is programmed in there. In all, you'll find it easy to transfer your data over. Please accept these as a modest way of saying thank you. There is one for Caliburn as well. But I feel that he may look with suspicion on my gifts. And there is a 4th box that is there as well. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else I can be of assistance? Or for
I
which?
don't think so. I appreciate your time. And as I said, we'll...
rounds the table and shakes each of your hands. And when he shakes your hands, Dr. Cooper, he says, I trust you do not take offense to my frustration.
Oh, no, it's just easy to understand why you would be frustrated. Just in science, we never really like to rule out anything. And questioning is part of it.
True.
So we'll
but dogged pursuit of a false hypothesis wastes time, money, and can have dire consequences. And he winks at you. Just ask Soviet agriculture. Gentlemen, you have the room as long as you need it for. He walks out. The assistant closes the door behind him, leaving you guys free to talk here if you like, to study your new phones, or even to take a mid-session break. So why don't we take 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and see what happens next. So for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Great.
Robert, you trying to get sick, brother?
Am I trying to get sick? I think it's the heat. Our heat coming on, and I think it's the dust coming out. Yeah. I always forget every year.
Finally, my mom lives with us now.
Yeah.
And so, a couple weeks back, it started to get cool. Not cold, but cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she's just, I'm so cold, I'm so cold. I said, okay, fine, Mom, I'll turn the heat on.
Yep.
And now today, it's going to get up to 70 something.
Yep.
So we've gone through. We had a pretty strong cold snap maybe a week ago.
Yeah, so did we.
And now it's warming back up. What's a 10-day look like? Yeah, see, it's going to be back up. Heck, they're saying Wednesday it's going to be 79 here. So I'll have to turn the air back on then.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not going to get quite that high here. It's going to be near 70. Yeah, today, it was like 30. It was freezing overnight. Like it was around 29. Today's going to get up to 68.
Yeah.
And the highest we're going to get the next 10 days is about 74.
Yeah, I think yesterday, it was either Thursday or yesterday, we had like a 30-degree swing. You know, it was like 60 in the day and it went down to like 30 at night.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
It's that weather. And of course, us southern, you're still a little bit further north, but it's close enough to have that kind of in-betweenish.
Yeah. I mean, the weather, we haven't complained too much about the weather since we've been in Virginia. Even when it got fairly hot, it wasn't terrible. Like the humidity isn't like it is down in the Carolinas, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think they're just, for some reason, there must.
Are you still there?
What, would you guys lose Robert as well?
Yeah, he was talking and then it just disappeared.
Oh, it just froze up as well. Oh, he's there. Oh, hold on here.
He may be having an issue on his end. Huh. Yeah.
Let's check. Is he still in Zoom? Yeah, he's still in Zoom. Oh, you guys can get a Benny as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, Kevin, by the way, today I have a Noble Knight purchase coming.
Do you? What Noble Knight purchase is coming?
Since we started playing 5e, I had already gotten the first two Goodman Regional Adventures Reincarnated.
Yeah.
And I was saying, okay, well, I'll go ahead and get the rest. So I went ahead and got the Temple of Elemental Evil because I got it on sale.
Yeah.
And I'd been looking for the Lost City, and you couldn't find it. It was almost like it was out of print. I think they are going to go out of print, all of them, I think.
Yeah.
And Noble Knight happened. I put it on my wish list, and they all had one brand new, and I was like, oh, let me go and get that. So
Nice.
The Lost City should be here today.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, I had my shipment from them this week was I got Dark Matter because it was the only book I was missing from what do you call it, my D20 Modern collection, and I don't know how it must have been like overpriced or something like that at the time when I was filling out. I got everything else a couple of years back. And it's like, well, fuck it. Like, I can use some of that stuff for the charity session we've got anyway, so that'll be a good addition. And I got Elric. It's the third edition, I think, of the Stormbringer RPG. Basically,
yeah, I was gonna say because I think it was Stormbringer, and then I think it was Elric.
Yeah, it was Elric, and then it went back to Stormbringer, and there was a fifth edition of Stormbringer as well. But from what I read online, people talk it up as being like, for some, it's their favorite iteration of the D100 game. So I was like, oh, I'll check it out. It is fucking thin, but it looks really interesting. It has a much more robust combat system than what I think a lot of the other D100 ones have. So, I'm really looking forward. I'd read there was a French comic publisher that did a compilation of Elric comics not long ago, and I got a collection of like 5 graphic novels of them, and the art of them is fucking mind blowing. So I having kind of prompt.
I think it's the Games Workshop when they did the hardcover Stormbringer.
Yeah,
I think I've got a copy of that.
Oh, cool.
And I've got a copy of Hawkmoon as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got any others. I think that's the only 2 I really got. I really enjoy the Hawkmoon box set.
I remember there used to be a comic store near one of the universities in my hometown that I don't know what they did. Like it was mostly a comic store, but they had some gaming stuff. But at some point, they had either bought a fuck ton of Chaosium stuff or just inherited a bunch of Chaosium stuff, so you could get like Pendragon stuff and Hawkmoon and Call of Cthulhu and whatnot for super fucking cheap. So a lot of the stuff we got for Pendragon and Call of Cthulhu at the time we got from that store because they just had like all this like they'd have multiple copies of like the Pendragon core book and whatnot, all marked down really, really cheap. But Hawkmoon was one of the things that was in there, and I never picked it up.
Oh
yeah, it's.
I like it. It's like I said, it's a nice little box set. I like Elric, but actually the Hawkmoon stories are probably my favorite.
It's more of like a Flash Gordon-y kind of science fantasy type thing, right?
More of that kind of feel. I need to holler at. There's a guy that runs a small press, and he's done the Moorcock. He's done the first 6 books of Elric in beautiful hardcovers. I've got them. They're gorgeous. But I need to holler at him and see about maybe doing the Hawkmoon as well. Because he could do a beautiful little set of those too. I know. Yeah.
Well, see, forgive my ignorance. Is Moorcock still around? Or did he pass away? Is he okay?
No, he is still alive.
Yeah,
he is still alive. He is the I don't know, man. He's a freight train.
Yeah. The reason I ask is at the time, Elric, this would have been early 2000s, I think, if that came out. But it references recent books that had come out in the thing and how it had sort of changed.
Yeah, he's still writing Elric stuff and I guess other stuff. I never really paid too much attention. I've never really read any of the Jerry Cornelius stuff.
My exposure to that is indirect through Grant Morrison because of he had Gideon Stargrave, I think, was a character in The Invisibles that was it's basically Jerry Cornelius. And I guess Moorcock took offense to the co-opting of the character for the purpose of that, but yeah, so I'm familiar with the idea of what the character is, but not the execution. And there's Gabriel Ba and Matt Fraction had a series that was very similar to that as well, that I can't remember the name of, but it was quite good.
Yeah, he's been writing stuff in 20...
So I don't know if Matt Fraction is a comic writer, but this is a non sequitur. The Godzilla stuff for that Monarch series that's coming out, he's a co-executive producer on it. And I mention it only because, like, he's in the same way that, like, Garth Ennis has some really fucking trippy ideas for science, and sometimes they get not Garth Ennis, Warren Ellis, who's a problematic character, I guess, but he is his writing has those like big tech ideas, but just kind of like shallow character stuff. Fraction has a lot of those same kind of like really out there ideas, but they're a little more clearly connected to character than what Warren Ellis's ideas are, and they're not as sweeping and operatic at the cosmic level the way that like Grant Morrison's stuff is. So I think it's in good. Like Fraction wrote a really good Iron Man, and I think that if he's one of the creative directors or creative not directors but creative voices behind Monarch, I think might be a good series. Yeah, I might. I'm trying to remember who has it. Apple. Is it Apple? Apple TV, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not signed up for Apple. I'm going to re-sign up again for that because fucking Godzilla. Like, I gotta. I've got their bundle. They've got a bundle with a whole bunch of stuff. It's got Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple News. I love Apple Music. That's become my new favorite thing. Okay. Yeah, I'm still stuck on Spotify, but that is Spotify pissed me off. I just was like, I didn't like the interface. Of course I didn't pay for it either. I am using the free version. So there you go. This is not I discovered a podcast. This is not second. We'll go back to the game in just a sec here, but the podcast called If Books Could Kill. It's a guy, I can't remember his name, Michael, I can't remember what his last name is, but he did the podcast for that shirt I'm wearing, You're Wrong About. He and Sarah something or other created You're Wrong About, and then he's gone on to other things. He's a reporter. But what it basically is it takes, the whole conceit of it is him and a lawyer who look at like those popular airport books, the think piece books, so like Malcolm Gladwell's books and like Freakonomics and the what is it, the plan, the spirit, the game, what the fuck is that called, the secret. So they read these ones and they talk about them in the context of like with them being fact checked and whatnot, and it's like it is incredibly enjoyable and really educational. Like the Freakonomics one in particular, because I remember when that dude was doing the book tour back when Jon Stewart had the Daily Show, he was on there and like it presents as like, oh, this is really some interesting shit, and then you realize like a lot of social scientists, he's just like incredibly skewed or ignored certain other factors to come to the conclusions he wants to reach in it, and you're like, oh, so like all this stuff is bullshit and more than a little bit racist. So like one of the chapters is about how like because they grew rice, that's why the Chinese are good at math. I am not fucking exaggerating. So anyway, the podcast is very enjoyable and really interesting. If Books Could Kill. Yeah. I'm really enjoying. I'm making my way through their like year worth of content right now. So anyway, cool. Yeah. Okay. So then, guys, we left you off with a lot of you in that boardroom in St. John's.
Yeah, so I think that what Link wants to do is just a quick recap just to make sure he's got this straight, which is actually Jeff too.
Yeah.
So this polymer was stolen from his residence?
No, it was one of his research centers or whatever.
Oh, a research lab. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is this polymer for?
It is some sort of very, very, very powerful bonding agent.
Like, what was the phrase? First of all, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Robert. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Didn't you say have it bonds at like the molecular level?
Yeah, it's an extremely powerful bonding agent. And what Bouclier can tell you is that the alchemist is a big fan of bonding agents.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a little odd that two different seemingly unrelated things connected on Fawn Fader.
Those are the two supervillains that the guys faced. The alchemist, Electron, and they had worked with the tech mercs. Tech mercs were just like guns for hire, generic, supervillain goon kind of stuff. The guys managed to capture a couple of them and down at least one of their getaway ships, maybe two.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, both supervillains got away.
Yeah.
Bouclier is almost again. And this is mostly my penchant for trying to connect random things, but it's like, well, they don't seem connected, so maybe the latter was a diversion of some sort.
I was just fixing to say that.
Yeah.
It's possible that was a diversion to take the attention off of something else. Anyways, I think we should head back.
Yeah, I agree. See what Dr. Caliburn thinks.
Yeah, has to say.
Yep.
Lake, anything else you wish to bring up before you leave?
No.
Not here.
Yeah.
That's, I was asking Mind Warp.
Okay.
No, I think that more or less clears it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way,
The rest of the stuff he wants to discuss is not here in a possibly bugged boardroom.
Yes. What do you mean possibly? Of course it's bugged.
And I bet the phones are too.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while since we've done this, but Cygnus could use, in theory, his super science to cobble together like a bug detector.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just assuming we're being bugged or watched.
Yeah.
And in fact, when he said the thing about about it possibly being a what do you call it? A diversion, he's like, well, we don't need to call him back in because he heard that, or he'll hear that. So
give him more rest.
Yeah. Maybe time to go back. But by the way, he looks over at Mind Warp and he says, "Why the hell were you gone so long?"
Yes.
Let's talk about that back at the office.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to head back to the.
So, if you message Dr. Caliburn, the gate opens up in the door leading from the boardroom back into the hall at Ravenscrag, and walk out. Boom. And Dr. Caliburn is waiting in the...
Sorry.
That's okay. Waiting in the hallway for you to return. And then once you are through, he seals the gate.
Right.
And it says, So you've met Foreign Fader now.
Yep.
Yes.
Did he give me a phone?
He did. You were expecting that.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, what do you mean? How did you know he gave you?
If you've known him for as long as I have, you would know to expect such displays of generosity.
I would say he had more than just simple altruism to gift us those phones.
Oh, no doubt. But he wouldn't be the only one spying on us, and there may be some benefit if we have a shared enemy with him knowing what's going on with us. He opens it up. Plus, I hear there's a new camera.
What are you taking pictures of, Caliber?
You have your interests in technology, and I have mine.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, you can get pretty good pictures of space even with those things now.
Well, let's hope this will not take us there. Then he leaves to go and fuss with his phone unless you wish to stop him.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we debriefed him to some extent on what we had learned.
Yeah, I can't think we would hide much.
So one of the things, just to give context for your relationship with Caliburn provides the place of Ravenscrag in Montreal as your place of residence. He gets you around. He'll offer advice when requested. Mm-hmm. He doesn't direct you, though.
Right.
One of the things that, whether I'll leave it to you to whether you've explored it any further with you, but remember, at one point, Dr. Caliburn was effectively the Sorcerer Supreme for this world.
Yeah. Yep.
He no longer has those abilities, and he no longer engages in that role directly. Mm-hmm. He is serving an indirect role.
Yeah. So Bouclier would definitely want to ask him about if there's a way to track something. Of course, mind you, I'm sure he would have had it beforehand. So, like to track the compass, or if there's a way to tell if the compass had been there, been in a place. So, obviously, we're going to let him know that we were going to go to St. John's or go to Bifrost, and what our plan was to try to basically break into Asgard, as it were, and ask if there's any way he knows of to track something that might have been there, like the compass, and whether it would, like, as an example, we might be able to go back to the museum it was in, and if there was some faint residue, supernatural residue there, see if we could then use that to track where it might be or have gone.
There are certainly ways to track, but in order to do so, you do need to have some connection to that, whether that's through someone with a connection to the compass, or you have some other magic is metaphorical in many ways, and whether there is a physical or metaphoric connection to your whatever it is you track, then yes, magic can be used to track such things. It is beyond my capacity to do so now, but I might know someone who could assist with that, although there will be a cost. But do you have, before I pursue that avenue, do you have any connection? Have any of you bled on it, or otherwise had a specific mystic link. Foreign Fader may, but he may. There are ways where such links can be severed, and he is very cautious with his magical security, as well as that of the mundane. So he may not be a route for that.
I don't think any of us have blood on it.
Trying to remember who touched it, who caught it. I think it would have been.
I think it might have been
me or
Mind Warp.
Jeff.
I think it was Mind Warp, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it was one of the two of us.
Who was the one who blew up the non-such? I knew Mind Warp put it back together. Was it you? Or was it you saying this?
This guy.
Yeah, let's take this. Yeah.
Okay, so then it might have been you, actually, although you had your suit on.
Yeah, then that I was thinking about that as the next thing. Of course, I was like, I would have had my suit on and everything.
Although, for the metaphorical, that doesn't necessarily mean... Did you scan the compass at all? I don't think so.
Oh gosh, I don't think so, Kevin. But that was forever ago.
Yeah. No, I don't think you did. I know you had that. Yeah, and like you didn't have any kind of mystical. You had that strange vision between you and Singularitas,
Right.
but I don't believe there was anything that happened with the thing. So, unfortunately,
yeah.
Unless you can find another who has a more substantive connection to it, I'm not sure magic would be the avenue to locate it. Is there not a way of locating them instead? These wayward demigods.
I mean, there's nothing I would immediately flat out know. We always, unfortunately, we're always reactive. Because if we could track them, we would have already done that.
Maybe we need to make it a point next time we either see the compass and or one of these things do something to allow us to track them.
Yeah.
Grab a random hair that happens to be around, get somebody's finger off,
Well, and I mean, even setting up some sort of scanning device.
Yeah.
It may be magic, but it still operates in a physical world. So there's got to be physical ramifications.
What, out of character, you guys had discussed last time as well, the town of Churchill is much further north on Hudson's Bay than what Bifrost is. Bifrost is like right near the southern end of Hudson's Bay. Churchill is much further north. So you guys have yet to be there, and traveling to Bifrost would not be like a hop, skip, and a jump to get to Churchill, even with Mind Warp speed.
Right.
Because you guys recall when the Wendigo tried to trap you in that dream state, they brought your spirits at least to Churchill. That is a lead on with which you have not followed up yet. Oh, Robert, you cocked loud enough to knock. Okay.
Okay. The only issue with going to Churchill first is if these beings now have the compass, the trail could end up colder, or I mean, it's probably unlikely that we still catch them there, but if we go to Churchill, I'd say that the odds are pretty much nil that we catch them there. But
And we could always go from one to the other.
Yeah.
Based on the conversation we had with Foreign Fader, I think Bifrost might be our best bet at this point. go there, see what we can find out, and maybe ask around about Churchill as well as while we're there, and see if we can find any link between the two.
I agree. Unless a higher power from above mentions Churchill again.
I'm not telling you guys how to conduct your investigation.
No. Well, I remember somebody.
See where the XP is.
Yeah, I remember somebody constantly eventually was like, so you left that compass there. No, okay. Yeah, Bouclier is of the opinion that we need to go to Bifrost and check this thing out.
Mind warp? Jeff?
Yeah, I'm just
Thinking.
I can't see you, I'm sorry.
Oh, I can't see you guys either.
I know, it is what it is.
Oh, and I'm also unmuted. There we go. Muted. I think that Mind Warp's mind is, so to speak, in a much different place. He's much more concerned about this like other version of Cygnus, who he now thinks is probably the evil one that Douglas was after, because he doesn't believe his friend Cygnus to be this, problem. So he's kind of just like lost in that thought a little bit, and so he's probably like, yeah, whatever you guys want to do, let's go. Let's, like he's not really focused on the problem at hand.
One interesting thing with that then is because Bouclier spent a fair bit of time assuming that the version of Cygnus that arrived was heroic, like Cygnus. And that when he reacted to him and said, Monsieur Montaigne, that he reacted to him as if he was a villain. If the Cygnus who arrived was the villain, what does that mean about Monsieur Montaigne?
Yeah. But, well, right now, I don't think... Jeff,
he's not sharing it with them. No, so it's not something that you guys can discuss. But just when it does come out, that's going to definitely be an interesting thing for Bouclier's self-esteem or at least self-perception. Because
Yeah, he just assumed that yes, of course I'm going to be the villain if I'm not.
So Caliburn is off to fuss with his phone. What do you guys wish to do?
Do we need to prep anything for going to Bifrost? I mean,
make sure you're wearing your long underwear.
Do you want to whiteboard it? What your plan is and what your options are? Or you guys?
So remind me, Kev. Is there a way for? Did Von Vader suggest a way to get into Asgard without the compass?
No.
No. Okay.
No. He accessed the ruins of Asgard using the compass to travel to Bifrost from Bifrost.
Okay.
In retrospect, probably not the best thing to name the entrance to it, but you know, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was barely 100 years old at that point, so I mean, he was but a babe as far as immortals go.
Okay, so that actually changes a little bit. I don't know why I had in my head that our plan was to actually go to Asgard directly from Bifrost. In that case, I don't want to. Like, just seeing if we could find more information, maybe at Churchill, then wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah. Will.
Yeah, that's definitely doable.
Yeah. Because we have let that slide a bit. I'm just Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like, so
That's such
Bouclier's,
a understated
Yeah.
way of saying, like,
Yeah.
a community of 1,000 people.
Yeah,
Like, well, it's been on the back burner for a bit.
yeah.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go to Asgard. We're gonna find these guys, kick their ass, and obviously that's not what he would be thinking, because there was no option to just go to Asgard from Bifrost. Yeah, maybe go up to Churchill, take a look around the areas that we saw in our dreams, see if we see anything else that could make connections before we go speak to Erickson. Not, is that right? Thor, not Erickson. Sigson. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Ben, where do
Yeah.
you wish to arrive in Churchill? Center of town, the outskirts?
If we did Google Maps, I think it might be, or whatever, Vader Maps. We could maybe go to see if we see the place that we were originally held in, like where we appeared. And then kind of follow the path that we took to the harbor.
Yeah. You could, let me show you.
And again, he looks at the others. He's like, does it seem reasonable? I mean, I don't know if there's any reason that the place that we appeared in was the place we appeared in, but I swear to God, this looks like the moon to me, the way that
Isn't it crazy?
with a black, well, particularly because I'm sure this is that actually the horizon on the, or is it just that
No,
the picture
it's like
was
a
cut off?
three-quarter
Okay.
perspective
Yeah,
from
yeah,
playing.
That's
Yeah.
actually the bay right there. That's
Yeah.
that's the actual bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just ice
on the
frozen
edge.
over.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how
Yeah.
the polar bears get down from the Arctic and hang out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's cut off with no sky. It just looks like it's, the moon or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I've got another. I mean,
put this up
sometimes
here
it's
so that-
difficult to see.
Yeah.
Here's in the same region. There's an idea.
Okay. Fun place to visit, but actually, maybe not even a fun place to visit. I don't know.
It's got a different, a different kind of beauty to it.
Aesthetic, yeah.
Very right. Yeah. It's not
Absolutely,
like picturesque
yeah.
whatnot, but it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Even
Nice.
I'm loath to do it now because I'm older and I just don't like fucking highway driving in the winter anymore. Blizzard I hit last year has kind of ruined me for 22 hours of driving to get what should have taken 12. No, thank you. But it's pretty fucking beautiful. Even it's a very stark beauty, but except for Regina, fuck that city. No, I'm kidding. Outside west of Regina, without fucking fail, I hit the worst weather every time I drive, regardless of whatever time of year. It's just a weird microclimate, and it has tornadoes as well. But without fail, it tries to fucking murder me every time I go.
So I think we know where like a kaiju's going to appear if you need to destroy a city.
You want to know what appears in the first issue of Alpha Flight?
Nope. Well, yeah, sure.
It's effectively a kaiju. It's a giant tundra, one of the great beasts of the north. So, then, if I don't do a kaiju this weekend or in this session, I've only got tomorrow's Traveler session to try and crack a kaiju out to celebrate Godzilla's 70th. So, we have 39 minutes left, guys. Get ready.
yeah, I know. This is kind of the game for it too, actually.
So, so this is where you would see, So, what does that help at all in terms of like where you'd, as far as where you were? Why don't you do this? Why don't you guys give us a notice check at minus... I think just -2.
Okay. Notice -2.
Because
We
it's
have
tough.
lots
Like,
of pennies.
you would have seen it from a different perspective, and you would have seen it, you know...
How many pennies total do we have now?
You should have
we've
5.
got at least
None of you guys have spent. You should spend 5. Just remember, in this game, if you critically fail, you cannot spend pennies for reroll.
Yep.
Right.
So what do you get if you pre-spend it?
There is no pre-spend option with
Oh,
pennies.
there is no pre-spend on this.
Yeah, it's a reroll mechanic, right?
How do you use conviction? This.
You spend it. You can spend it after the roll, and you get the benefit
Oh
of
my
that
god.
until you get to add a d6 to your roll until the you stop spending bennies, basically, to persistent.
I think. Yeah, let's
So
go.
those are not
conviction.
great rolls, guys. Anyone want to benny those? If you do, just go ahead and
I will
spend your bennies.
Not great rolls.
I will Benny, and did I just click on the conviction if I want to use it?
Remember, if you're spending conviction is a very limited resource. If you're spending it on this, it's going to be gone by the time the scene is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and so the scene will likely continue until next week or next session as well.
Oh, no, but
Oh
the
my
scene,
gosh.
that means like this is your just reflection before you've left. That conviction will not persist if you travel to Churchill.
Right. Let me spend a couple more bennies before I decide to go that route.
Okay.
So let's
Let's see
spend,
those double ones. Come on.
Where's my... There's one to reroll. -2. Nope.
My goodness, guys, what the... I mean,
Well, there's a -2 involved.
that is his
so this
Achilles heel. Anyone else want to benny
There we
theirs? There you go, Bouclier. All
Okay,
right.
so I spent 2 bennies.
Okay, so you're fairly confident that you've got a place. It's one of these, like, you know, long facilities here. Probably where it's worker housing. For the most part, it's a lot of like worker housing that is making up Churchill.
But you feel that it's probably in that area based on what we saw when it came out, and okay.
Yeah, you rolled well enough to get a general idea of like it's probably one of these buildings because you remember walking out, and you remember seeing like the signs of life of people in there.
Yep.
But what you didn't get a raise though. You could keep rolling and try for a raise.
Got 3 left. In case we see a kaiju, I think I'll hold off. Maybe when we're there, that area, maybe we'll get another notice check because we've actually been there. So
Bouclier's got an idea of where it was that you began in your dream.
Okay.
Does that help in determining where you guys wish to appear?
Yeah, like on the street in front of that housing area.
Okay.
Maybe we need to appear at night, so because it was nighttime, right?
Yeah.
When we appear in the dream, to make it even more familiar, or is that just too creepy? We don't want to be there at night.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. We'll go during the day.
Yeah.
Besides, we probably want to talk to folks.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a good idea to go up to the building we think that we were in and say, "Hey, can we come inside?" At 2:00 in the night.
Probably not a good idea.
No. All right.
So, what do you do?
Open a portal.
So that's the plan. Traveling to where you were. All right. So
Does that seem fine? Any? Okay.
So then you get to the foyer in Raven's Crag once again, and now that is curious. There is some sort of warding in the town.
Like the whole town.
I am unable to open a portal there.
Huh.
It is not sophisticated magic to close an area off from magical teleportation or other long distance conveyance. Forn Fader had it active in his facility too and dropped it in order to facilitate your travel. But it seems that Someone does not want someone traveling a long distance there. I can try and get you close.
Yeah, both of you guys can go pretty fast, and Cygnus,
Yeah, we
you can carry me.
Yeah, I can drag you.
What's your flight speed, Cygnus?
Oh gosh, hold on, Kevin. Let me pull that back up real
Sure.
quick. Flight.
I haven't pulled up the PDF in a while, so I got to take a look again. But
Oh,
0
there's
to
my
600, 0 to 600, and 2.2.
Oh yeah, flight of 8. Let me see what I wrote over here on my sheet.
I think I would have put it on the character sheet there. I mean, flight of 8 is 60
90 miles, or excuse me, pace 90, which is 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, 60 miles an hour. So you could push it up to about 240 with a Benny. So Mind Warp is significantly faster.
Yeah.
Living up to his name or his character type of a speedster. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, do you have any idea how close you could get us, Dr. Caliburn?
Let me see. And he begins, kind of working his magics. And then eventually there's it opens up and it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. So like take this photograph, go a couple of miles to your right, and then just like...
Yeah.
He says, but I hear the GPS tracking on the no phone fader is quite good. Is anyone making use of their phone fader now?
When we're there, or when we...
Or are you bringing it with you? Are you bringing your phone fader with you, or are you...
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there an app on there for break warding?
Looking through. Does not appear to be, no. There is one that breaks PDFs. Is that... No?
No.
Cygnus, Mind Warp, are you bringing your phone fader with you?
Oh, I'm just trying to decide. Yeah, I think I am.
Quickly, I trust them enough.
If everybody else is, I succumb to peer pressure. I would be like all the cool kids.
Walking through Churchill, where they probably still have flip phones and.
Well, that's assuming we can actually get past whatever warding there is.
Yeah. True enough.
Well, the warding that is preventing you from even using Raven Strike to get there, that would be magic. And as Phone Fader says, he favors technology.
And there could be that too. It could be under the dome.
Mm-hmm.
So, he says it's difficult to tell. I think this should be 50 miles close, but I cannot be certain.
Okay.
So Bouclier just gets his heaviest clothes, and
oh yeah, because he's susceptible to cold.
Yep. Yeah, this
so
could be a fun place for
big Canada Goose,
Yep.
parka on.
Yep.
With his luchador mask underneath.
Yep. Love
it.
And if he gets big really fast, he's gonna have to buy new clothes. So.
Yeah, those Canada Goose parkas, they are not cheap. So
no, they're not.
This one. Okay.
Cygnus Mind Warp, you're making your way through. As you guys are stepping close to the portal, like you don't feel the cold while it's open. It's only really when you step through. There is like a climate barrier, in the between the two. Dr. Cooper.
Yes.
Suffice it to say, if I'm unable to open a portal to Churchill, then while you were there,
we're on our own.
Mm-hmm.
He holds up his phone, but not entirely. So, unless there's anything else, we'll see you guys step through, and then that doorway closes behind you.
Yep.
And Mind Warp. This is from what I recall, I'm trying to remember, the campaign, I think, started in the summer, didn't it? Because that's why the winter in Winnipeg was such an unusual thing.
Right.
Okay, so I think I still got that right. If I've got that wrong, apologies to those who may be watching this all in one go. Again, there's been a lot of gaps, and I can't go back and rewatch everything. What you know, though, is that stepping out into here, this is like stepping out into the fucking depths of winter.
Right.
It's very much in the north, like there is a climatic difference between that and like where in the temperatures in the southern part of Manitoba, but it should not be like this. Like this is depths of winter, minus 40, both Fahrenheit and Celsius. It's brutal fucking cold here. Like your face hurts cold.
Right.
Yep. So, Calvin is like, bad idea. Let's go to
Yeah.
let's go to
Oh, no.
Bifrost.
No, you want to come? We're here now, buddy.
What would you guys like to do?
I think. No, it's just cold, right? We're not talking like inclement weather of precipitation and wind.
No, it's
And
just
then
like the wind is not obscure. Everything's sort of frozen in place. Sometimes when it gets that fucking cold, you can almost see like little, flecks of ice, not forming in the air, but it's got a real unusual way that the light hits the air. Everything is, and what it would sound like for those who haven't experienced that weather, it sounds like stepping on styrofoam because the ice is just frozen in such a packed and frigid way. And that's what you've got before you. At 50 miles out, you won't have line of sight to Churchill from here. But
yeah, I think that's what Cygnus wants to do first. I think he wants to fly up, and so he can get his bearings for the direction to go in.
I think it's not unreasonable to think you've got a compass of some kind on here. Okay. So at the very least, you have an idea of where it is, but syncing GPS is a little tricky here. Right. So why don't you give us a science roll? And I think you get to roll the best of both, right?
Any smarts, I get a re-roll automatic.
Right, okay.
That's how that works. And you said science, right, Kevin?
Yes, please, yeah.
There we go. So...
And you do get to re-roll that for free and take the better of the two, and a crit fail wouldn't trump. This is not like normal re-rolls. You get to take the best of the two. So now you got a raise.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of... You realize that whatever magical disturbance, it might be fucking up with your GPS as well, but you have a clear idea. In spite of that, you're able to clear up the disturbance. Maybe you're... Oh, boy. Are you learning more about the occult and how to work around it with your science? I don't know. But you are able to get a clear connection. You know precisely where you are. You are almost directly west of... east of Churchill. West will put you in the middle of Hudson Bay. Oh no!
I thought it was on the west bank. Okay.
It is on the west bank, which means that you would be... Oh, west. Yes, you're right. It's west of Churchill. So 50 miles out, and you should be good to go.
Gotcha. So all right. So I know what direction we're heading in.
Yeah.
Do we want to head straight there?
And if so, how?
I will carry Bouclier. I know that will take a little bit longer, probably.
No, because remember, your strength when you're in the suit is quite impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. It just, I know Mind Warp can move faster, I guess.
Oh, definitely. Even with your boosted.
That's what I was saying.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Although Mind Warp has the ability to share speed too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did have that ability.
Right. I haven't done that for a long time.
No. Well, we haven't played this in a long time, too.
Yeah.
So let me see here. I've got, I think your character's here.
Boost speed.
Yeah, you can lift a ton, Cygnus, without spending bennies. and mind warp.
It's only one turn at a time.
But you could persist it. You don't have to roll to activate it, and you could just leave it working on him. Boost speed 2 would at least get your CO to a 10. That would it's 120 miles an hour then. So at least we would reduce it to about 20 minutes from outside of town to in.
Okay, why don't I try it?
Okay. Yeah, because I don't think you don't need to roll for that. I don't think. Let me tell you. I might be.
Oh yeah, because I can get a. It says I can get a raise. So.
Oh, yep. I stand corrected.
What was the ability? Focus?
Yeah, you use focus to check that.
All right, here we go. Come on.
Success.
Success.
Good enough, or you want to fish for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fish.
Nice.
You know me.
Yep.
There's a chance.
That wasn't it.
That wasn't it now.
And it only boosts it by 1, actually. 1 die type. Oh, no. So it'll be boosted by 1. So that is absolutely what I said. All right. So, but you did succeed. So, Cygnus, you pick up Bouclier. You begin moving forward, and then as Mind Warp begins moving beneath you, you can feel there's like a wake, a quantum wake that he's picking you up in, and you guys are zipping across. Although because... less so for you. So because Mind Warp technically is teleporting, it's something we haven't talked about before, but I don't think he leaves, like super speedsters in like comics and cartoons and films, they have that like there's shit that's left behind, like debris or whatever else. Because Mind Warp is teleporting, I don't think there's a wake.
No, not really.
Yeah, I think that, well, I always think about, I'm trying to remember, I think it was in Marvel, and I can't remember the specifics, but I know there was one where they talked about when somebody teleports out, the air rushes in to fill the void.
Yeah.
Of the volume that they evacuated. That would be the only thing I could think of that you would kind of have left over from.
Yeah, that's possible, but that might only be when he arrives at the destination then.
Could be, yeah.
Right? So, because he is teleporting through the intervening distance without actually occupying it. So, or at least that's the way you described the powers before, Jeff.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So, but Cygnus, however, is just being sped up through this. So you are, there's a line of snow. What time of day did you guys go? Because you did have your free reign as to what, whether it was daylight, nighttime. I think you elected against October is over, but I'm happy to deliver horror again, guys. If
No. I would think, and I'm gonna be dumb here. I'm gonna be the dumb American. How much does their northernness influence the length of the day?
Here, it's not that far north.
Okay, so it's not that. Okay, like I said,
it would affect it. It's affected to a degree, but it's not like Denmark or
Alaska.
Where it's the land of the midnight sun. That's in the Northwest Territories is more, which is
so that's further. Okay,
yeah, further north.
Okay, thank you.
Northwest Territories and Iqaluit, I should say. Yeah.
Okay, I would think we would arrive probably before noon. But not necessarily at sunrise. So
none of it. Not Iqaluit. Iqaluit's the city. Sorry. We had a couple of territories that were added in the last 10 years, and
really?
I forget sometimes. So, because I never go up there. So
yeah. So yeah, what was it, say 10?
10 in
10 a.m. morning.
Yeah. Okay.
That
all
sounds.
Right. So you guys are heading in. As soon as so it's not long. It's 15 minutes of travel before the town comes into view, really. And what you can see is, well, for one, as you're going in, there's no sign of any aircraft coming or going from here. which is not unusual. It's a very 899 population as far as Wikipedia tells me. At least the version of Churchill in our world. And here, there is... it would be probably the same, but there's no aircraft coming in or leaving. And as you're getting closer, you can see that there is the telltale kind of smoke coming up from one or two places that tells you that there is a heater going on inside, but not nearly as many as should be.
Oh, interesting.
There are no trucks or cars or vehicles that seem to be moving. In fact, there's not, as you're getting closer, a single sign of any life here.
What is, once again, what is the primary industry in this area?
Is research, and there's a military base that was there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, there's got to be a municipal building of some sort. There has to be something like a city hall or a police department.
Ooh, tourism as well. It is the polar bear capital of the world.
Yeah, I saw the tourism part. I did see that. So that is kind of odd, I guess.
Do we see any polar bears?
There are no polar bears that you can see. Ooh, you can go see beluga whales, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of research stuff, and this is also the terminus of the...
see a railroad there.
Yeah, Canadian... I'm trying to remember what railroad it is.
Pacific, Northern...
the Hudson Bay Railway, operated by the Arctic Gateway Group.
Okay. That wouldn't be owned by Foreign Fader, would it?
It's not, no. He's more tech. That is more distribution.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what we ought to do. Make our way kind of maybe towards the center of town. Try and find, like I said, some sort of municipal building. And
as you get closer, the weather begins to turn. The wind begins to pick up. And snow begins to blow once again. The skies had been clear. As you get closer, the skies have clouded over. And snow has begun to fall.
Like, how clear was it before? Like, was it a perfectly clear day?
From where you were, yeah, perfectly clear.
Yeah. And did the clouds, like, appear to come normally, like, but maybe fast, or does it just like they suddenly are there?
It was not like a cloudless sky before, but it's not until really you're 10 minutes, 15 minutes in towards it when you realize that, like, holy shit, like, it all came in quite quick.
Okay.
Not inconceivable in this stretch of the woods, but I mean, very similar to the weather that you saw in Winnipeg.
And it also shouldn't be minus 40 degrees.
No, not this time of year. Absolutely not. Barring some kind of really unusual circumstance. And you can see, like, the temperature gauge inside Cygnus's suit is showing it steadily inching even further down as you get in.
Somebody doesn't like us.
Would you each give us a notice check, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think that notice needs to go low on him.
Interesting.
Just a regular notice check, though. Okay.
Okay. You bending your Cygnus?
No, it's a smarts skill.
Oh, smart skill. You actually get to roll twice.
It's a smarts automatic reroll.
Cygnus, you see... so I think it's once it's pointed out to the rest of you guys. Mind Warp, you're very close to noticing this as well. You point out, as you guys are getting to the edge of town, look at that! And there are in the snow, quite even with the blowing snow, even with the things picking up, there are some huge footprints in the snow. easily as large as those of the Good Boys and the Frost Giants that you faced in Winnipeg.
And is that going into town, or is that coming out of town?
Into town. Crosses across
going
one of the
into-
streets and stomps in it seems to go in the direction of town. You could easily lie down in one of those footprints.
Bouclier, while we're flying, looks over towards the railway, and he just because I think, I don't know if he would know, but I mean, in general, these things run on a schedule, and
Robert,
so
did we lose you?
we lost you again, Robert, which gives us an opportunity to mow.
are there any trains, sir?
There we go.
Sorry, what was that? Yeah.
Oh, we're toasting to Mo. Anytime
Okay.
anyone gets muted and forgets they're muted or accidentally muted, we toast Mo.
Okay.
There used to be a train that went up there, but I don't think it runs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there are no trains in the station, or?
There are cars and trains in the station, but they seem to be quite snowed over as well.
Okay. Yeah, so he's thinking obviously probably can't talk very well in this weather, especially. But he's thinking that they need to call the train company when they have an ability and find out when the last train came in, and are these guys actually worried about the fact that their trains didn't come back?
Yeah, there's that too.
Yep.
So, if you do nothing, then you get to by the time you reach the middle of town, the blizzard is as thick and unforgiving as what it was when you first faced these things in Winnipeg.
Great.
Cygnus. Now, one of the ways you may remember you powered up Bouclier was by dropping him to the ground immediately.
Yeah.
But if there isn't a immediate threat, that power will fade almost immediately. So,
Yep. Yeah.
do you want us to land more gingerly then, or are you?
Yeah, I think we'll just land.
End zone spiking him.
No, I think we'll just land normal for now.
Because then he'll just destroy my clothes for no reason, and I'll be really frozen. And
Yeah, really.
yep.
Why, Dr. Cooper?
Okay.
Dr. Cooper, would you give us a science roll, please?
Alrighty. Dun, 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 dun.
It's your
I seem to be
reroll.
wearing a relatively good sweater for this.
Yeah, really. So
I'm
as
gonna
you
go ahead
land
speed
and
up.
release Bouclier, Mind Warp is right next to you as well too. The wind is howling and blowing next to you. You feel that same, because your connection to this thing and the readings you get and the physical reaction that disturbances in the singularity have. Remember the disturbing sensation that woke you up?
Mm-hmm.
You feel a flutter of that as it lands.
my.
Do you think you'd be able to stop yourself from sort of like, it's not going to do anything, but from grabbing your chest in the way that like, oh shit.
I think he would pause. I don't think he would like physically do anything, but I think there would be a pause
Okay.
where he just kind of stops.
Sure. Mind Warp and Bouclier, why don't you give us a notice check, please?
Mm-hmm.
And then while you're doing that, I'll describe for you. It's probably one of the long buildings here. It's sort of like a rec center that also passes as a central, like a city hall. I mean, this absolutely plays into your suspicions of Dr. Cooper, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you look over and you can see that Cygnus, when he lands, there's something off.
Yeah. Bouclier is like, it's fucking cold.
It's so goddamn cold, guys. So it's over.
Yeah. That's the panel, right? He's like this, and like you see Bouclier, you see Jeff looking at
Yeah.
across.
So he just kind of pauses for a moment. Mind Warp is looking over at him, and Bouclier just like, get the fuck out of this weather. So, Mindwarp, you notice this, and then Cygnus, you recover. What do you guys do? There is likewise no sign of life in the community hall either.
Or you mean outside of the community hall?
Outside.
We haven't gone in, right?
You have not gone in yet, no.
Okay.
I mean, Bouclier,
Bouclier
I'm
is
assuming,
actually-
is stomping towards it.
Yeah, he's pretty much hoping that there's heat inside, so...
What you can see, Bouclier, it does not appear, apart from some bare footprint tracks near here, there are no boot prints here.
Okay.
And, like, the walk has not been shoveled. The snow is blown up onto the kind of the porch that would lead into the community center. There are vehicles in the parking lot that have been snowed over to certain degrees.
Okay. Yeah. He glances at it all, and he's just like, heat, please. And he grabs the door and just, like, tries to pull it open.
Yeah, there's a bit of snow drifted up against it, but you're able to pull it back and step inside. Cygnus and Mindwarp, what about you guys?
Yeah.
And I think, Mindwarp, with a roll that good, you absolutely know something is off with Cygnus.
Right.
Because that's just bonkers. That's, 4 raises? Yeah.
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 I think I would just, I'd just right out to ask him at this point because of what's going on. I'd be like, something's up. What? What, Cygnus? Tell me.
Bouclier looks over his shoulders like, come on!
Well, you've gone inside already. The door is
I've
closed
gone
behind
inside.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I have a feeling similar to, you remember we were telling you about that portal that opened back at Ravenscrag?
Right.
Well, I was asleep when it happened, and I woke up. And the sensation that woke me up, I just had again.
What?
We need to find out where these people are and what's happened.
Yes.
So I think at that point, I think Cygnus will go inside.
Okay.
Can they have power in here, Kevin?
There is no power, no lights on.
No light. Oh my. Okay. Surely I.
Heat.
So you make your way in. At the very least, being out of the wind helps a little bit. So as you step inside, Mindwarp, what are you doing? Cygnus is...
I guess just looking around, just trying to figure out what is going on. Where is everyone? I mean, in this world, this, it shouldn't be empty like this.
No. So I think I'll let you roll forward that incredible notice roll to spot that there are at least 2 titanic forms, shadows looming in the snow.
Oh.
They've got to be probably like half a city block away at this point, but you have a feeling they may be moving in your direction.
Yeah, I'll let the guys know. Something's approaching.
So you'll have to go. They're not going to hear you. Cygnus has gone inside. Bouclier has gone inside.
Oh, yeah. I guess I would. How would I alert them? I mean, I have my super speed. I guess I would run in there.
Yeah, you can easily. So you head inside. All right, and we'll find what awaits you in the community center, and what shadows approach in 2 weeks' time. Now, I'm just going to my notes here. All right, so this is no one is getting a advancement today.
Yeah, I think we got it last time, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mind Warp, you're just into the second band of things. So next session, after that, you'll all get an advancement. You guys have another 2 before you start slowing down yet again. But then, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for issue number 9 of The Guard. We will be, whoopsies, come on, you get over there. There we go. We will be back in the Great White North and find what awaits our stalwart heroes in 2 weeks' time. But until then, as is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where we have a channel dedicated to Savage Worlds and to most of the games we run on the channel, most of the campaigns for that matter. There's also a ton of other great channels over there, like convention chat and GM discussion, and just a really great community that's built up over the years over there, and you are more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games, who we were talking about after the break. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. And not only do they have a great selection of new board games, card games, and role-playing games, they also have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. So if there is something that you've been looking for, if they don't have it in stock, you can put it on a want list. They'll send you an email when it comes in, and then if you pick up that, or you make a purchase of $10 or more otherwise, be sure to enter the code FALLMUSER, all caps, all one word, at checkout, and you will save yourself 10% on your purchase. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really incredible organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts at the time of recording in Morocco, Ukraine, and the Israel-Palestine region. All donations that go through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to help out the kids who benefit from their services. And as a reminder, we have been having a year-long charity campaign, the Year of Ill Omens, which will be coming to a conclusion on November 25th. Donors throughout the year have been voting on all the different elements of all 6 parts of the campaign that have taken us across time and space on the planet Earth. And we will be concluding that campaign with a thrilling 80s set, or adventure set in the 1980s, with our heroes playing unlicensed paranormal investigators and using the D20 modern system. So I'm really looking forward to that wrap up. And it's been the generous donors who have been voting on that. We're going to do something around the holidays for donors to vote on as well. So if you make a donation of $10 or more, or you had since June 1st, 2023, head on over to the Charity Initiatives channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server and keep an eye out there for what charity options we're going to have for donors to be able to shape what we're playing over the holidays. The last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our stalwart heroes. It was great to be back in the Great White North with you guys again and to have so much of the team back together. So Robert, Will, and Jeffrey, thank you so much for playing today, guys. John was going to try and make it today, but he had something that needed to get done this morning. So, John, we are thinking of you. But we'll be back in the Great White North in 2 weeks' time to find out what awaits our heroes. But until then, we hope that we gave you a couple of hours, take your mind off the troubles of our world, and think about the troubles that our stalwart heroes are uncovering, and for this unfolding Canadian mystery. And until we see you again, true believers, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.